This is FYI on your TV, brought to you by Hometown News. I'm Kathy Botham. I have got Isabel Boyle with me. You are with the Hospice Hub. You are the vice chair of the board.
Yes.
And you brought with you today Anne McRae. Anne McRae, you're one of the town councillors in Perth, but you're also a volunteer with the Hospice Hub as well, too. Welcome to FYI, both first-timers here.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here to talk about the Hospice Hub. It's such an important support that all communities need too. So how long, Isabel, have you been with the Hospice Hub?
Well, the Hospice Hub started in the fall of 2022, and we actually incorporated, it was just a group of people who saw a need, and we started meeting. There were gaps in the community, and we started meeting, and we incorporated ourselves in March 2023, and it's all volunteers. It's absolutely a community-based organization. And so I've been around since the beginning and it's exciting, some of the things we're doing, but we're always, we don't have any government funding at this point, and so we're completely dependent on fundraising for to keep us surviving and that. So it's it's been an exciting time, and I think the strongest thing is the community that supports us. We've done well with our fundraising, but we have to keep going.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why you're here today too, is to talk about fundraising. You've got pretty much 2 fundraisers going on. Both are called the Waves for Hospice. Can you talk a little bit about them?
Yes. So first of all, I'm just going to talk about Waves for Hospice. It's a community fundraising event in support of Hospice Hub, and it's going to take place from February the 9th to March the 30th, 2026. And we are working in conjunction with the aquatic staff and the pool in Perth. And participants basically collect donations that will go to the Hospice Hub. But they're also staying active by swimming laps, attending aqua fitness classes, and participating in family swims. So you see, you can do it individually, you can do it as a team, or you can do it as a family,
right,
if you want to become involved. So we're hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. We're helping hospice, but we're also talking about maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So those are the 2 things. There's actually going to be progress charts posted on the pool wall, where people can actually set their own challenges and participate at their own pace. So you don't have to be an Olympic swimmer or anything like that in order to participate. I'm not, and I'm participating, and I'm going to do 1 length at a time, just like a turtle. You know, I'm going to go up and down the lanes, but in an effort to make money for Hospice Hub. So that's the first part of it. And people can register actually online at www.thehospicehub.ca, and when you go in there, you can scroll down and you can see Waves for Hospice. So the kickoff, and this is, I think, is just dynamic, is we're having lunch with Vicki Keith. And I'll talk about her in a moment, but I just want to give the details about the luncheon, and that it's Wednesday, February the 4th, so it's coming up very quickly, right, at 12 noon, and it's at the wonderful Maximilian's Restaurant on 99 Gore Street East in Perth. Everybody's been to Maximilian's. And the tickets are $40, and they as well can be purchased online.
Okay.
Now comes the kicker, and that's the keynote speaker. And I met Vicki Keith years and years ago when I was coaching competitive swimming. I coached for the Cornwall Sea Lions and also for Trent Swim Club, and I coached a number of masters, Carleton University,
wow,
Canada Wave Pool masters, and that type of thing. And often we would be competing at regional and provincial meets and that type of thing. And lo and behold, that's how I met Vicki Keith, because she was coaching with the Kingston Swim Club at, right, the time. And I always used to say to my kids, when I was coaching them, I would say, who do you aspire to be as a swimmer? And so many times they would make reference to Vicki Keith.
Really?
And whenever she stepped onto the deck, they were all running to her. They wanted to get their cap signed. you know,
They're
their
seeing
tote
their hero.
bags.
They're seeing
Yeah,
their
she
hero.
she was a hero, and she definitely is. So let me just share a little bit about her. She has broken 19 world records for her marathon swimming over the years. She shattered boundaries and many feats long considered impossible by aquatic experts. She was the first woman to double cross Lake Ontario. And she was the first woman to swim across actually swimmer, not male or female, to swim all 5 Great Lakes.
Yes.
And she has the record for the distant world record for open water butterfly of 80.2 kilometers. So that is almost twice across Lake Ontario. Imagine doing that, the butterfly.
Wow.
When I swim 25 meters of the butterfly, I'm just exhausted. I can only imagine swimming across Lake Ontario and back doing the butterfly. So her records are outstanding. She's won the Order of Canada. She has the International Swim Hall of Fame. She's inducted there, the Canada Sports Hall of Fame, Canada Games Hall of Honor, and they renamed the headline of Leslie Street Spit. And that's where she starts and finishes her, like she starts her swim, was officially renamed the Vicky Keith Point in Toronto. But what's really ironic about this whole thing is her swimming journey began supporting Hospice Kingston. Isn't that ironic?
Isn't that something?
And she started by making $50,000. And it was something she was very, very compassionate about because her mother and her 2 friends founded that organization.
Wow.
And here we are in Perth trying to do the very same thing, get it going, and we've got her coming to support
she's
us.
still supporting the hospice.
Well, there you go. So I think that's pretty special.
Well, that's meant to be.
And I just wanted to tell you about my swim because I need everybody out there in television land to support me. I said I was going to be the turtle, and I am. But you know what they say, one step at a time, right?
Right.
So I'm swimming it's 7 weeks. February the 9th to March the 30th is 7 weeks. And for 5 days a week, for the 7 weeks, I go in and I swim 100 lengths. So that in total, for 5 days a week, times the 7 weeks equals 87,500 meters. See collectively what you can do, one step at a time,
That's
right?
right.
And that's 54 miles, so that's once across Lake Ontario, but in the Perth pool.
That's right.
So that's what
right.
I'm doing it.
And you're just one person doing that. Imagine how many people you could get to do that.
And that's the whole idea. We want everybody that is an aquatic enthusiast to, get in the pool and get sponsors and swim laps for Hospice Hub.
Wonderful.
So that's what we're doing.
Excellent, excellent. And what a nice coincidence. Vicky Keith started because she was supporting a hospice and was her family.
Absolutely.
Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? Now, can you talk a little bit more about the Hospice Hub, what you're doing? I know you've got to get away from here today to go cook at the hospice, the day hospice here in Smith Falls, too.
Yeah. So, as I say, we really got going in the spring of 2023. And we went out and we just met every agency, and we met with physicians, and we met with the hospital to talk about our vision. And we got out there in the community and told the community and asked the community, what do you want? How do you see us moving? Well, the first thing we did was we developed a clinically supported day hospice hospice program.
Mm-hmm.
So this program, and we spent, I guess I should back up a bit and say we got a number of volunteers from our community meetings and that. And volunteers are the heart and soul of the hospice. We're all volunteers. And so we got a number of volunteers and we gave them some extensive training.
Mm-hmm.
And this was guided by Hospice Palliative Care Ontario. And then we opened in the fall of 2024, we began our home support program. And our home support program is where we have a a registered nurse who goes into the home, and she meets with the family and the person who is dying, and it's generally for somebody in the last 6 months to year of their life. They're beginning on that trajectory where things are, they're going to die. And we talk about death a lot around hospice. That's our business.
That's right.
And so we, the nurse will meet with the client and the family, and then depending on where they are in their journey, she often will spend time doing just navigation through the system is often what's needed. But then at some point they will be matched with one of our volunteers who will go into the home weekly and spend 3 hours or so with that client. And they will be companioning that client. They will be giving some respite for the caregiver, and just whether it's playing cards or just talking or sitting and talking about fears the client may have, and just be a companion.
Right.
And so that program is alive and well. A person can get into the program by phoning themselves. A relative can phone. We get referrals from the hospital. We get referrals from healthcare providers and that in the community. And we will match our visitors or our volunteers with the client, and wherever that client is, it's wherever that client calls home.
Right. Right.
So it could be a long-term care facility. It could be in the hospital. We've had visits in the hospital with some of our clients and that. So then the other program that we have, which is very active and has been really since we started, is our grief and bereavement program.
Yes.
And that program we had a group of trained volunteers who came to us when we first sort of opened the doors and again, a community group of people who had special training in bereavement support. And so our grief and bereavement program can be a one-on-one, so we go into people's homes and that. We also run groups. We have an upcoming group at the Perth Library starting in the middle of February, a 6-week group. And again, people can self-refer themselves to that. We put it on our website and social media and wherever we can to.
And it's important for people to know the hospice isn't just for the person going through end of life, it's for their family and their caregivers as well, too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We get our referrals from our home support volunteers who have been with a family and
Right.
somebody has died, and that person will then come on to our programs. We don't talk a lot about death. We want to sort of, we spend a lot of time talking about babies and preparing for babies, but we're not really great at doing our preparation for death, and so that's one of our big goals.
Right.
Excuse me. And then last fall, so I'm sorry, I'll go back, our grief and bereavement, so one-on-one, we do groups, we do special events too. In December, we did both here in Smith Falls and in Perth, we did an evening of remembrance and just an evening to remember that person who
Right.
is no longer with us and that.
And those are important.
And they're really important, and just we have certain one-offs, sort of using sort of the death cafe model.
Right.
It's a little different, but just really so that we can talk about death openly in
That's
in
right.
the
You meet
community.
people where they need it. Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And then we started our day hospice program here in Smith Falls in October, and we're very excited about that. We are at the Westminster Church. They have partnered with us and have given us some beautiful space there, and this is where somebody with a life-limiting disease, so not necessarily end of life, can sort of have a time away, so plan time away. And so our program, again, it's clinically run so that there is a nurse present who can sort of assess the client. Maybe they're needing a little bit more help, and then they will have an activity, planned activity. We provide a nutritious meal, and of course it gives the caregiver some respite, so she knows she's got 4 or 5 hours every Tuesday. That's their time to do with what they wish to do.
Wonderful.
And this, and so it and for our home support program, as with our day hospice program, the nurse keeps constantly in touch with the
Right.
volunteers. So a volunteer can be in the home and notice that Joe's having a bit more pain, and so she will report that back to the nurse, who will then mobilize somebody to deal with Joe's increase in pain and hopefully save Joe a trip to the emergency department.
Right,
So
and I
it's
understand you keep an eye on your volunteers as well, too, how they're doing.
absolutely,
So, yes, that's
absolutely. The
important.
volunteers write a note after their visits and this, and we have ongoing training with our
Right.
volunteers. We've just finished training another cohort, our 3rd cohort, so
Wow,
we
good.
have
It's
close
amazing.
to over 50 volunteers who are
Wow.
supporting these programs, and also our fundraising, because we need volunteers
Yes,
to help
50
us with the
volunteers,
fundraising.
and they're all busy, too.
Mhm,
There's a need out there, once
mhm.
again. the
There
need out
there
there.
is.
So
Wonderful.
one of the reasons I became involved in volunteering was my husband had been going through a long process, 8 years with Alzheimer's, and he needed, I went through an experience where he needed end-of-life care, and if there had been at that time, this was just prior to the development of Hospice Hub in our area. That service wasn't available.
Right.
And I remember after he passed, the meeting at Algonquin College, where they were people in the community, such as Isabel and others, were trying to develop the Hospice Hub, and going to those meetings and hearing what it was, and how they supported caregivers, and as well as
Right.
those at end of life and experiencing end of life. And I thought to myself, this is incredible, and boy, oh boy, I sure could have used that
That's
service. And when I looked around and talked to others, the room was just full of people sitting in the same position I had been in. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is so desperately needed in our community.
Absolutely.
So, because I sit in so many other committees, I mean, when you're on council, you sit on the chamber, the BIA, the
Right.
Climate Change Advisory Panel, and the list just goes on and on. If it's not one thing, it's another. I thought, there's got to be some way that I can help. So I thought, okay, one of the ways I could help was with fundraising. So that's why I jumped aboard with the fundraising, and that's why I became involved. And I can't say enough great things about this organization. They're working so hard, and
Yes.
they're so committed and so diligent in making this happen in our area.
Absolutely,
So it's
absolutely.
wonderful.
Well, I need you to say one more thing, though.
Okay.
Dates and times, and how to get tickets to Vicky, and how to get registered to swim.
Okay, so Vicky's, first of all, the Lunch with Vicky Keith is February the 4th at 12 noon at Maximilian's, and you can get the tickets online. So if you go into the website for thehospicehub.ca, you go into that, you will just scroll down and you will see the Lunch with Vicky Keith. And the
Wonderful.
tickets are available online. To take part in Waves for Hospice, you could go into the website as well, or you can go to the pool in Perth, and they have registration packages and forms there that you can fill out. And that's between March the 9th and March the 30th of 2026. And they're actually having a pool kickoff and registration, and that's on Monday, February the 9th at 11 o'clock at the Perth Pool.
Wonderful, wonderful. And to learn more about the hospice, how do they get a hold of you, or if they're in need of some
We have a
hospice?
wonderful website, which is thehospicehub.ca, and there's lots of information there. The phone number is there, that's probably the best way of
Right,
this.
to get a hold of you. That's wonderful. Thank you very much, ladies, for coming here today and supporting the hospice. It is a support that our community needs, people need, and like we say, it's people going through end-of-life care, plus their caregivers and family as well, too. So it's
Absolutely.
it's a wonderful program.
And those who are grieving.
And
that.
those are grieving afterwards
And
as well.
stay tuned after the waves for Hike for Hospice, which will
That's
be
right.
coming
That's right.
up
That's
in the
usually
spring.
May. Is that May?
Yeah,
Yes,
usually
that's right.
beginning of May.
We'll have to have you come back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll get you in a
Okay,
little earlier so we can get you away on Tuesday morning to cook at day hospice. Thank you very much for joining us again. Once again,
Thank
I've
you,
got
Kathy.
Isabel
We
Boyle
appreciate it.
and Anne McCrae from Perth today. Thank you very much.